Hey, it's Vera again already, kitty cat. And it's the middle of the night, and I'm doing a reading for September for Divine Union. And thinking about, okay, these are my grandmother's things, this scarf and this pin. We're releasing any old strategies that have stemmed from fear or not being allowed to be fully present in our embodiment. And when I say not being allowed, I mean, having been traumatized or having been neglected or, sort of forced into some sort of conformity or some prefabricated programming, we can build societies that have both structure and freedom in them, but we, we're needing to reassess right now. Okay, so there's a lot happening astrologically as we come into this balance, as we are balancing. We used to watch this show. I used to watch this show with my kids called Peep in the Big Wide World, and there was a little game on the website that was connected with it that was about balancing the seesaw, balancing, things on either side of a seesaw. And the way it was phrased was like, can you balance the seesaw? And my kids are laughing recently. They're, older now, but just that I can say that in the perfect voice. Can you balance the seesaw? Okay, so one thing that's happening is these eclipses along, and they've already begun back in January, these eclipses along the Cancer and Capricorn axis. So for the Capricorn, I got the Sun, and for Cancer, I got the Ten of Cups. So, we think of the Capricorn as the more strict, right? And also we have Saturn and Uranus, right? And we have Chiron doing a lot. There's just a lot going on. But these two I pulled thinking of Cancer, Capricorn. So this structure is being infused from the great central sun. We just went through the Sirius gateway. And then we can capture, within our bodies, our embodiment, our dear hearts, we contain parts of starlight, right? So it's a balance, it's this infusion through these structures of our lives with this incredible photonic light that's pouring in, and that we are integrating and grounding, and that it can feel very hard. I had a rough, the last 4 or 5 days. I've been really struggling. It's been difficult, and this integration is no joke, and this, yeah. But so there's room, there's absolutely room and place to have this incredible love, to experience this on earth in our plain daily lives and living, and our crockery. I'm just doing this handheld. Okay, so wishes coming into fruition and the absolute giddiness of that, but then also, since we all are, I was thinking something about a state of pre-forgiveness. Like, there's so much influence of this Christian idea of, especially Catholic, of, to me, at least within my experience of my family, of having been born in sin, or like that life is suffering, and suffering is required somehow. And I'm not denying that many are suffering and that many have suffered, and no way would I ever deny that, but we're not born in sin. We are born in joy. I can't even say that so directly, because some people have been born out of terrible, terrible circumstances, and treated terribly as babies and children. And that's happening right now on our earth as well. But we are also being flooded with light. We are integrating all the elements. We are part of the earth. We are working with our planet as part of her. And, not to overly gender anything either, but something about wishes coming true that can feel extremely scary and bring up so many of these old habits of even self-sabotage, but also, things that have in the past maybe served, maybe not served, but felt like they might serve, or there was some hope that they would serve as a protection against heartbreak. And our hearts break open in this flood of light, and they are the breaking in a way. I don't know, I almost don't have language for these things right now, but we are coming into this absolute state of balance. In the one I did yesterday, it was interesting. I noticed later that what I pulled for Mars was the King of Cups. Mars is the divine masculine, and then Venus is the divine feminine. I pulled like this action card of the Knight of Wands. And so there's just such flow. I want to move my hand like this. There's just such flow. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, my ex-husband and I my former husband and I went to, the father of my kids went to, we were doing some kind of test to make sure she was fine, because I didn't want to do one test, so we did a more loose test anyway, because I was kind of an older mom. Anyway, at some point we saw her, we had a sonogram at a weird week that I hadn't had with my other pregnancy. And so she was big enough to be moving around, and there was still room. She was small enough that there was still room, and she was just like swimming like this. And I'm thinking of that as like all of these things are swimming in us and between us. So, but it's just interesting to me that I noticed after that the King of Cups as the divine masculine, and what the question I asked was where he needed tenderness, and it was to be able to sit in his emotions and live from the depths of those, guided by them, and also sort of in the place that would maybe have been tagged feminine at some junctures in our history, or yesterday afternoon, or whenever. And so he's sitting in this, our integrated things that perhaps have been tagged as feminine, so that he was supposed to repress them. And then the same is true of the divine feminine coming in with this action card, and like just trusting in herself, even though she's like perhaps not, she's perhaps a little bit inexperienced, a little bit maybe even overconfident or whatever, but things that have been perhaps, and I say this gently, tagged masculine. So that was interesting that flipped, and we think of the yin and yang symbol with like the little dot of black or white in the opposite space. All of our symbols are changing. I like this tarot deck because it's beyond my comfort zone in a way, with its simplicity, and the person who made it, I think, is a bit younger than me. And the way she spoke of like her generation wanting simpler icons, almost like a internet thing, was interesting. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit rambly, but our wishes are coming to fruition, and we inhabiting and living from our hearts and trusting in our bodies and caring so deeply, all the love you've ever felt for your child or your true love, I'll pour that, live that, validate, affirm that within every cell of your gorgeous, beautiful lovely bodies, and your just that self-love is so important as we ground, as we shift, as we balance. We are our own wishes coming true.